Hey everyone, Rushlock here with another reading, finally, of an article by Rixx Javix. This was requested by XenonTech yesterday, who thankfully reminded me to get back into the habit of doing these. If you have any requested reading you would like done for EVE Online articles, or want to reach out for other type of projects like this, just simply contact me on Discord, usually in the hashtag edit room on that server, and the best way to do so. If these are enjoyable for you, please hit the subscribe button down below and leave a comment. Alright. 15 minutes is the title of this article. Anyone who has played EVE for any length of time can tell you the game is like a weird complex clock, full of gears and wheels all ticking away on their own time. Cycles, ups and downs, coincidences, strange happenstance. Use whatever analogy you want. No matter who you are or what kind of game you happen to be playing inside this game, sooner or later the gremlins will get you. About a week or so ago, I was just chilling, performing security duty for a group of industry folks in our alliance. I was cloaked up in my Legion, sitting about 30 kilometers from the nearest miner. Nothing happened for a long time. And then I DC'd. Unfortunately for me, this was during the time that EVE was opening 4 screens wide on my computer and then crashing. I'd have to boot it up again, at which point it opened just fine. Luckily that was a brief moment of time. It opens normally now. Which meant it took twice as long to get logged back into the game. When I returned, I was caught by an Arazu. And we all know what happened next. Bad luck. Although I did manage to solo that damn Arazu. What I couldn't have known then was that the incident was only the beginning of a string of bad luck. In one fight, my armor repper wouldn't cycle. In one fight, my ship refused to turn and just burned straight at a dude with arties fitted. Yes, it had been that kind of weird-ass time in EVE lately. But nothing that has happened personifies the bad luck quite like a 15-minute stretch the other day. So let me share with you the worst 15 minutes in game I can remember in a long time. I can't say it is the worst 15 minutes. There might be worse ones. I just can't remember everything. This day I thought I'd fit up a cruiser and go cruising. I chose to explore using the Thorax because I hadn't flown one in a long time. My fellow Stay Frosty and Phoenix decided to join me on a short roam to see what kind of trouble we could get into. Earlier I had almost soloed a young Vexer and would have if a roaming Tyrannus hadn't swooped in to whore on the kill. So the ship was working fine. Nothing seemed expensive or special or expensive, just a solid Thorax blaster fit, and nothing happened for the longest time. Usual stuff. Eventually, we found ourselves in Aldernets, and the system was busy as usual lately, but nothing was around to engage. Phoenix was doing his own thing when I decided to warp to the OICX gate. Unfortunately for me, I arrived at the same time as a gang of Gnosis and some support ships. Phantomite was one of them that I noticed. Now that was just bad luck, and either I warp off or I jump. Only 2 choices, so I quickly jumped and tried to warp away before they followed. My odds were not good, but I did try, but better to try. And sure enough, I got caught. I lined out and tried to save my pod, which I did and was safely in warp up to the nearest station, which just happened to have a waiting Proteus sitting there. Boom! Pod gone. Goodbye, snakes. Of course, I did what I always do. I jumped to another Thorax and undocked. In warp to the Loas gate, I noticed a caracal sitting slightly out of jump range to the gate. Odd enough. It wasn't moving, and the pilot was a younger pilot. Trap, bait, AFK, or just a bio break, who knew? So I did my usual. I boated out and locked it up without aggressing. No response. At this point, my hope is that the other ship shoots first so I can engage without the gate gun shooting me, but no response. I bumped it. No response. No effects on the shields. Well, you know, you don't become Pirate Lord by being cautious. So I OH'd, I don't know, my guns, overheated my guns, and engaged at point blank range. Immediately, I knew something was wrong. Those shields barely moved, and then I was scrammed and webbed. That's when the Arazo decloaked and lit the Cyno, and behold, a Redeemer showed up. Yep, ladies and gents, Ghost Moon used a Redeemer to kill my T1 cruiser. I did the only sensible thing at this point and logged off. Tomorrow is always a new day, and hopefully the worm will turn in a new direction. Which it did. We had a great hookbill roam the next day. I managed to score 9 kills without any losses. And we all had a great day in fleet. So whenever you're having a bad day, just remember you are not alone. We all have bad days. And sometimes that ship is actually bait, and sometimes it isn't. And that's the end of the article. That was a pretty quick read. So thank you to EVE XenonTech for reminding me to get back into these. I know Rixx enjoys some commentary about after having read these and kind of processed this through my own lens. And this kind of as a nice analogy or a summarization for what I talk about with exploration. Once you're kind of established in a route, you pop on for 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. You run your quick route, and some days you get something, and some days you get nothing. And you have to be able to allow those find nothing days to roll off your back and just keep on going, because if you don't, and you allow any negative experience to impact you for too long or at all, you'll start building up resentment and start making and finding excuses not to log back in and try again. And that's just not the nature of the activity with exploration. And as I'm discussing this, I'm starting to see kind of an overlap in chasing the same thing. When you're out roaming for PvP, you're hoping to find that piece of candy. And when you're out roaming for exploration, you're scanning and hacking, hoping to find a piece of candy. So you got to remember, you're not going to find a piece of candy every day. And if you did, it would probably be unhealthy because you start becoming expectant maybe of it. And then if you became expectant of it, you wouldn't appreciate the piece of candy that you find tomorrow. So thank you, Rixx, for the article. Thank you, Xenon Tech, for the reminder. And we'll see you in the next one.